Compound interest is the topic of discussion in this video. If the interest for one period is compounded to the principal to get the principal for the next period, then such an interest is called a compound interest. In these cases, the interest may be compounded annually, semi-annually, quarterly, or even monthly. Let us take an example to make the concept of compound interest more clear. Suppose a person is borrowing 10,000 rupees at an interest rate of 10% per annum. What is the actual amount he has to repay? Let us do this calculation. At the end of first year, interest becomes due based on the 10,000 principal amount. Here interest is paid on the principal amount 10,000 rupees at 10%. So 10,000 into 10% is 1,000. And when coming to the next year, the interest is paid on not the original principal value. It is paid on 10,000 plus this 1,000. So in the second year, interest is paid on 11,000, that is original principal amount plus the interest paid in the first year. Now here the interest is calculated on this 11,000. 11,000 into 10% is 1,100. And in the next year, again this 1,100 is added to this 11,000. So we have to pay interest on 12,100. In the third year, the interest will be at 10% on 12,100. That will be 1,210. And then coming to the fourth year, they have to pay interest on 12,100 plus 1,210. That is 13,310. 10% of that value is 1,331. So that is how interest is calculated in the case of a compounding interest. And now let us study the formula to find the compound interest. A is equal to P into 1 plus R divided by 100 whole raised to N. This is the formula to find the total amount in the case of a compound interest. So we know that the total amount includes principal plus the compound interest in this case. So for finding the interest, we have to subtract the principal amount from the total amount. So interest is equal to total amount minus principal. And P is the principal in the formula. N is the number of periods. R is the rate of interest per annum. Using this formula, we can find the total amount as well as the compound interest. Normally, the interest is compounded annually. If it is not compounded annually, then certain adjustments have to be made. Like if it is compounded half yearly, then the rate of interest has to be divided by 2 and the time period or the number of years has to be multiplied with 2. And if it is compounded quarterly, then the rate has to be divided by 4 and the time has to be multiplied with 4. If it is done monthly, then the rate must be divided by 12 and the time must be multiplied with 12. Only after doing this adjustment, the formula may be applied. Now, let us see how the calculation is done. The question here is to find the sum at the end of 4 years for rupees 10,000 at 10% per annum compound interest. So, the amount is unknown here. We are asked to find the sum at the end of 4 years. That means the amount for rupees 10,000. So, that is the principal value. Principal is rupees 10,000. N is 4 years and rate is 10% per annum. Now we can apply these values in the formula to find amount at the end of fourth year. 10,000 into 1 plus 10 by 100 whole raised to 4. So that will be just like 10,000 into 100 plus 10 divided by 100 whole raised to 4. This 1 plus 10 by 100 cannot be added as such. So denominator of 1 has to be 100 in order to add 1 with 10. For that purpose, we are multiplying 1 with 100. So 100 becomes the common denominator of 1 and 10, and 1 becomes 100 in the numerator also. And the next step is 10,000 into 1.1 whole raised to 4. 100 plus 10 by 100 becomes 1.1 when the calculation is done. Now that 1.1 whole raised to 4 into 10,000. When we calculate it, we get 14,641. So the sum at the end of 4 years is 14,641 when the interest is compounded. Our next question is to find the compound interest for rupees 7,000 for 4 years if interest is payable half yearly at 6% per annum. So here the interest is payable half yearly. That means in a year 2 times the interest will be compounded. That is why we make adjustment in the rate and number of periods. So A is unknown. That is the amount at the end of fourth year is unknown. Then P, that is rupees 7,000. N is 4 years. Since the interest is paid half yearly, we have to adjust it. So N is equal to 4 into 2, that is 8. And the rate of interest is 6% per annum. When the interest is compounded half yearly, the rate also has to be adjusted. So 6 divided by 2, that will be 3. Now let us apply the formula to find amount at the end of fourth year. When the formula is applied, 7,000 into 1 plus 3 divided by 100 whole raised to 8. And that becomes 7,000 into 100 plus 3 divided by 100 whole raised to 8. And when we add 100 plus 3, it becomes 103 by 100. Then on dividing it with 100, we get 1.03. So it becomes 7,000 into 1.03 whole raised to 8. On multiplying these two values, we get 8,867. That means the compound interest is 1,867 rupees. This 8,867 is the amount at the end of the fourth year. So, in order to find the compound interest, we have to apply the formula amount minus principal. Amount 8,867 minus principal 7,000 gives the compound interest of rupees 1,867. And now let us take another problem. A man borrowed a certain sum of money at 12% compound interest per annum and cleared the debt by paying 9,408 rupees at the end of 2 years. Find the sum borrowed. First of all, let us analyze the question properly. The rate of interest is clearly given as 12%. Then, what other information is available? The man has borrowed a certain amount of money, but that amount is not specified, hence principal is unknown. P is not given in the question. Then he has borrowed the money at 12% compound interest per annum and has cleared the debt by paying 9,408 rupees at the end of 2 years. That means the total amount at the end of 2 years is 9,408. So A is given 9,408 and N is also given 2 years. So we have to find the sum borrowed or the principal sum. Now let us apply the formula. Amount at the end of second year is equal to P into 1 plus 12 by 100 whole raised to 2. That will be 9,408. That is given. So instead of amount, we can substitute this value. 9,408 is equal to P into 100 plus 12 divided by 100 whole raised to 2. And that can be solved as 9,408 in the left hand side is kept as such. Then P into 100 plus 12 by 100 becomes 1.12 whole square. And then 9,408 is equal to 1.2544 P. Keeping P that side, 1.2544 can be brought to the left hand side. Then it becomes 9,408 divided by 1.2544. That is equal to the principal. Hence the principal is 7,500 rupees, or the sum borrowed by that man is rupees 7,500. When 12% compound interest is added to this 7,500, it becomes 9,408 after 2 years. We are asked to find the sum borrowed, and that is rupees 7,500. That is how we find the compound interest in different cases. Thank you for watching this video. For more videos, subscribe the channel.